Привет! This is the Baikal MP-514K. The short version is, it's an auto-indexing, overlever spring piston air rifle in 4.5mm. It's a bullpup configuration, it's incredibly fun to shoot, if somewhat loud and kind of violent in action. The slightly longer version is, well, as you can see, it's made mostly out of plastic. Only the trigger and the safety are in metal, and the butt pad is slightly rubberized. But it does feel incredibly solid in your hand. It's by no means cheap. It weighs about 2.5 kilograms and is 64 centimeters in length. I'm finding it pretty damn easy to use as a lefty because it's pretty symmetrical except for the lever on the other side. As for the sights, well, only the rear are adjustable for windage and elevation, but adjusting for windage, you actually have to undo 2 screws and then slide the back plate a little bit and redo them. So it's pretty tricky getting that right. And in addition, if you want to actually move the sight forwards or backwards, or you want to remove it, you have to remove the top screw, then you have to knock this pin out, then you have to remove a retaining piece out of the way, and then you can finally slide this backwards and forwards or off and then put a scope on. This is a Picatinny Weaver rail, so any scopes will work. When I get to the shooting segment, you'll see that I was using one of my ridiculously long scopes, and it actually comes all the way to the front. Despite it not being on high mounts, the front sight didn't get in the way, so that's absolutely fine. As for silencer, well, yeah, there's no place to attach one, and I doubt it would have any effect simply because the action of the gun is just louder than what I think is coming out the front. As for the shot count, well, you actually have an 8-shot magazine, which is really, really funky on this because every time you actually break the gun open and you cock it, it auto-indexes to the next shot. So to get the magazine out, you just push this button down at the back and the magazine falls out pretty easily. Now, putting pellets into this is just as easy. You simply just drop them in. There's no pushing, no making sure anything, but that does mean that they're quite loose in here. So putting the magazine back, I find that tilting it just like the front works just peachy. Now, like I said, you don't actually have to index this yourself. When you cock the gun, you need to actually press down this button so you can pull this open. Now, this is going to be pretty tough from where I'm sitting, but oh, Christ. It's that last bit that you have to make sure that you get, because if you don't, you'll experience magazine jams. So anyway, once you've cocked that, this is now indexed to the next shot. Closing it up reveals that the safety is actually now automatically on. Now, normally I don't like safeties this close to the trigger, but it's actually further away than usual. And to actually switch it on from safe to fire requires very little movement. So I quite like the way that everything works. Let's see what it's like to shoot. Alright, so that was 5 shots of the Meisterkugeln pellets from 10 meters away. Ended up with a 30mm group. Now this is using the scope as you saw. Before I tried just with the open sights. The first shot was incredibly high, so I just loaded it down because I didn't feel like messing with the screws. And I emptied the magazine, so that's 7 shots. So with the scope, 30mm. Without the scope, 30mm. So it's probably not the gun, it's my fault. The gun is quite loud, like I said, so I'm only now getting to shoot it, seeing as some people are going back to work and I can still work from home. Now, I really love this gun. I love the fact that it auto-indexes. I've been looking at the Hudson Proximo before, but that's 4.5 kilograms. The underlever is pretty funky in that it's easier to use than this, obviously, but the gun's also about twice the price of this. This is about 250 euros. Now, I know it's not available that commonly around the world, but in Europe you can still find them pretty easily. The other alternative, of course, is the Umrex Synergis, but despite mails, I have not heard anything back. I have no idea when I can get my hands on one. They're not available where I am. So this is my only option. It's my only bullpup. Bullpups are a lot of fun to just pick up and grab, and so it's not a target rifle. Don't treat it as such, but I'm pretty sure that anyone who spends time with this could do a lot better than I did. And it's a lot of fun. Having something go in your hand is pretty fun. Anyway, stay safe, be awesome, bye.
Alright, just a quick note about the box. I love how functional it is. It's like, did you buy a box or did you buy a gun? You bought a gun. It has to come in a box because, legally it has to. Anyway.